Have you ever had that moment when you wake up and realize you're just going through the motions? You get out of bed, check your phone, head to work, come home, and repeat the same cycle day after day. You're doing everything right, but something inside you still feels off. You might have a job, maybe even success by society's standards, but deep down, you feel like you're missing something. That quiet question keeps whispering in your mind, what's the point of all this? If that sounds familiar, trust me, you're not alone. And if this message spoke to you, give this video a like. Share it with someone who might need a reminder of their own why. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos that help you live with purpose and clarity. Simon Sinek, one of the world's most inspiring thinkers on leadership and purpose, once said something that completely changed how people think about life and work. He said, "People don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it." Now, at first glance, it sounds like a business quote, but when you really sit with it, it's so much more than that. Because it's not just about marketing or selling, it's about living. When Simon says they buy why you do it, he's really pointing to something deeper, something inside you. Your why, it's that inner reason, your purpose, that gives meaning to what you do every single day. And when your life is driven by that purpose, everything starts to shift. You stop chasing things that don't matter, and you start creating a life that actually feels like yours. So, in this video, we're going to explore exactly how Simon Sinek's ideas can help you build a purpose-driven life, one that makes you feel alive again. We'll talk about how to find your why, how to live it every day, and how that one shift can transform your relationships, your work, and your happiness. And trust me, once you truly understand your why, you'll never look at your life the same way again. Let's start with the first idea, the difference between success and fulfillment. Simon often talks about how we've been conditioned to chase success. The money, the promotion, the title, the recognition. But the truth is, success and fulfillment are not the same thing. He says, working hard for something we don't care about is called stress. Working hard for something we love is called passion. Read that again. Because most people live their lives in the first category. Stressed, tired, burned out, but still pushing forward because they think that's what they're supposed to do. They've confused being busy with being purposeful. You can be the most successful person in the room and still feel empty if your work isn't connected to something meaningful. And that's the trap so many people fall into. But when you work for something that aligns with your why, everything changes. You still work hard, maybe even harder, but it no longer drains you. It energizes you. So here's a question I want you to think about. What's something in your life that you would still care about, even if no one noticed? What's that thing you'd still do, even if it didn't make you rich or famous? That's where your why begins to show itself. Now, the second idea, and this one's powerful, is that your why is not something you invent. It's something you discover. Simon often says, you can't manufacture your purpose. You uncover it by looking at who you already are. Most people think finding their purpose means going on some spiritual journey, or taking endless personality tests. But it's actually much simpler. Your why has been with you since childhood. It's hidden in the moments that made you come alive, in the memories that still move you, in the patterns of what you've always cared about. Even before anyone told you it mattered. For example, Simon discovered his own why during one of the lowest points in his life. He had built a successful career, made good money, and had all the achievements he thought would make him happy. But he woke up one day and realized he'd lost his passion. So he started asking himself, why do I do what I do? That question changed everything. He realized that what truly lit him up wasn't marketing or success. It was helping people find meaning in their work. And that's how the Start With Why movement began. Your purpose might not look like his, but it comes from the same place, from honesty. When you stop pretending and start listening to what really matters to you, your why starts to appear. So, to recap what we've uncovered so far, your why is the reason behind everything you do. It's what gives meaning to your life. Now, success without purpose leads to emptiness, but purpose turns effort into fulfillment. And your why isn't something you create, it's something you remember. Now that we've laid that foundation, it's time to go even deeper, because in part 2, we'll talk about how to actually live your why. how to bring that purpose into your daily life, your work, and your relationships. And most importantly, how to keep that flame alive when the world around you tries to dim it. So stay with me. The next part will help you turn your purpose into action. So now that we've talked about what your why is, that deep reason behind what you do, the real question becomes, how do you live it every day? Because knowing your purpose is one thing, but living it, especially when life gets messy, uncertain, or just plain hard, that's the real challenge. Simon Sinek often says, the goal is not to wake up and decide what you want to do. The goal is to wake up and know why you want to do it. That line always hits me. Because when you have clarity on your why, it's like having a compass that quietly guides you, even when the map isn't clear. Let's start with how to bring your why into your daily actions. You don't need to quit your job, move to a new country, or start some massive project to live your purpose. You can start right where you are, in the small, ordinary moments. Simon once shared a story about a barista at a hotel. The man wasn't paid more than anyone else, didn't have a fancy title, and wasn't working his dream job. But what made him different was how he did his job. Every person who walked up to the counter left smiling. He remembered their names, made jokes, asked about their day. Someone asked him, "How do you stay so happy every day?" He said, "Because I love making people feel cared for. Coffee is just my way of doing that." That right there, that's purpose in action. Your why doesn't have to be tied to your career title. It can show up in how you treat people, how you handle challenges, or how you make others feel. When you start aligning how you do things with why you do them, your whole life begins to feel more meaningful. The second idea Simon emphasizes is consistency over intensity. He once said, "It's not about intensity, it's about consistency." You can't go to the gym for 9 hours and expect to be fit, but if you go every day for 20 minutes, you'll see real results. Or mama, monsieur, tiene su maestria, I see. That's how purpose works too. You don't find it in one big moment. You build it through consistent action. Think about it like this. Purpose isn't a lightning bolt. It's a campfire. You don't light it once and walk away with it. You have to keep feeding it, little by little. So what does that look like in real life? If your why is about helping others, help someone today. If it's about creativity, so create something, even small. If it's about learning, read one page, watch one video, ask one new question. Tiny actions, done consistently, will slowly transform your life into one that feels aligned with who you are. Now, the third lesson, and maybe the most practical, is surround yourself with people who remind you of your why. Simon calls this the circle of safety. He says that when we're surrounded by people who share our values, we feel safe to be ourselves, to take risks, to grow, and to lead with purpose. But when we're surrounded by people who only value status, money, or power, we start drifting away from our real selves. Have you ever noticed how your energy changes depending on who you spend time with? That's not random. People either pull you closer to your why or slowly pull you away from it. If you want to live a purpose-driven life, you need people who remind you why you started, not just what you're doing. Those are the people who won't just celebrate your success. They'll hold you accountable to your values when things get hard. Simon himself built his company around this idea. He didn't look for the most skilled people. He looked for the ones who believed what he believed. Because skills can be taught, belief can't. That's how he built teams that didn't just work together. They believed together. Now, let's be honest, living with purpose isn't always easy. There will be days when your why feels distant, when you doubt yourself, or when you're just tired. That's normal. But Simon has a simple reminder for those moments. When we start with why, we inspire ourselves. When we forget our why, we lose ourselves. So if you ever feel lost, don't panic. Just pause and reconnect. Ask yourself, why did I start this? Or why does this matter to me? That question will bring you back home every single time. Before we move to the final part, let's recap what we've uncovered here. Living your why starts with small, consistent actions, not big leaps. It's about how you do things, not what title you hold. And most importantly, it's about who you surround yourself with. Because purpose grows stronger in the right environment. Now that we've explored how to live your why in daily life, in part 3 we're going to talk about something even more powerful. How to protect your why. How to keep it alive through failure, change, and uncertainty. Because purpose isn't something you find once and keep forever. It's something you nurture. And Simon Sinek has a few timeless lessons on how to do just that. So take a breath, stay with me, because in the final part, we're going to talk about how to build a life that not only has purpose, but keeps it burning. Once you've found your why, that reason that makes your heart feel steady and your life feel meaningful, the real journey begins, because it's one thing to find your purpose, but it's another thing entirely to protect it. And here's the truth. The world will constantly try to pull you away from your why. There will be noise, pressure, comparison, voices telling you what you should be doing, how you should be living, and what success is supposed to look like. But as Simon Sinek reminds us, the hardest part is not discovering your why. It's staying true to it when everything around you tells you to forget it. Let's start with the first big lesson. Purpose doesn't protect you from failure. It guides you through it. Simon often says, the difference between those who succeed and those who fail isn't the absence of fear or struggle. It's the clarity of their why. Think about that for a second. When you know why you're doing something, failure stops feeling like a dead end. It becomes feedback. It hurts, sure, but it doesn't destroy you, because your why gives the pain meaning. He tells a story about the Wright brothers, the men who built the first airplane. They had no funding, no fame, no safety net. Meanwhile, Samuel Pierpont Langley, their rival, had government backing, money, and resources. Everyone bet on Langley, but Langley's goal was to be rich and famous. The Wright brothers? Their goal was to fly. Langley quit the moment the Wright brothers succeeded, because his purpose was about himself. The Wright brothers kept going, because their purpose was bigger than them. That's what purpose does. It keeps you moving when results don't come right away. It gives you resilience, because you're not chasing recognition, you're chasing meaning. So the next time you fail, don't ask, why did this happen to me? Ask, what is this teaching me about my why? Because every setback has something to reveal, if you're willing to look for it. The second truth about protecting your purpose is this. You have to say no to the wrong things, even if they look right. Simon once said, a clear sense of purpose gives you the courage to say no to the things that don't fit your values. And that's one of the hardest lessons of all. Because as you grow, opportunities will come, good ones, tempting ones, but not all of them will align with your why. Sometimes the greatest threat to purpose isn't failure, it's distraction. You might get offered a job that pays more but drains your soul. You might feel pressured to please people instead of following your own path. You might find yourself chasing applause instead of meaning. When that happens, pause. Ask yourself, will this bring me closer to my why or pull me further away? Because the truth is, not every good thing is the right thing. And when you protect your why, you start choosing alignment over approval, peace over pressure, and meaning over noise. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. And that brings us to Simon's final lesson. Purpose grows when it serves something beyond yourself. This is where everything comes full circle. Simon says, when we work just for ourselves, we can only go so far. But when we work for something greater, we can go forever. Your why isn't just about you. It's about the people your life touches. The ones who feel seen, inspired, or encouraged because you chose to live with purpose. Every act of kindness, every moment of honesty, every time you show up when it's easier not to, that's you living your why. And even if no one sees it, it matters. Because purpose isn't proven by applause. It's proven by impact. Simon often talks about the infinite game. This idea that life isn't a competition to be won. It's a journey to be continued. And when you play the infinite game, you stop asking, how can I win? And start asking, how can I contribute? That shift from success to significance, that's what turns a purpose-driven life into a meaningful one. So let's take a breath and look at what we've discovered together. In part 1, we learned that your why is your inner compass, the reason behind everything you do. In part 2, we talked about how to live your why, through consistent action, the right people, and daily alignment. And now, we've seen how to protect your why by staying resilient through failure, saying no to distractions, and serving something larger than yourself. If you take anything from Simon Sinek's message, let it be this. You don't have to change the world overnight. You just have to live your why. One choice, one day, one act of courage at a time. Because when you do, something beautiful happens. Life stops feeling like a race and starts feeling like a story you actually want to tell. So, I want to ask you this. What's your why? What's that one thing that makes you feel alive, that gives meaning to what you do? Share it in the comments. I'd love to read your stories and see what drives you. And if this message spoke to you, give this video a like. Share it with someone who might need a reminder of their own why. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos that help you live with purpose and clarity. Because remember, as Simon Sinek said, the goal is not to live forever. The goal is to create something that will. So go out there, and start living your why.